Hola, buenas tardes. Vamos a repasar objetos directos y objetos indirectos. Son muy importantes. Entonces vamos a empezar con los objetos directos. So you've learned these before, direct object pronouns. So you started out in Spanish 101 most likely learning lo, la, los, y las. So they're pronouns that take the place of a direct object in a sentence. So if I ask you, like, do you eat pizza? You say, yeah, I eat it. So that it is the direct object pronoun. And you don't say, yeah, I eat pizza. You say, yeah, I eat it, right? If you say, yeah, I eat pizza, you repeat the direct object again. So that's what we're looking at. That's what a direct object is. Usually it's going to be lo, la, los, o las, right? Usually it's really simple. In Spanish, there's a couple examples you can look at here. ¿Toma usted café? When you answer, sí, lo tomo todos los días. I used lo because I was referring to the word café, and I placed it before the conjugated verb rather than after. So in English, you say I eat it. In Spanish, you say it I eat. Or in this case, it I drink, and the it has to agree in gender and number with the direct object that you're referring to. Bien, so typically it's lo, la, los, o las. Bien, so those are the most basic rules with direct object pronouns. Direct object pronouns can also be me, te, nos, y os. It can refer to a people or a person. So for example, if you say Fernando me abrazó, Fernando hugged me, it's a really short sentence. I'm going to be the direct object and I'm going to be the direct object pronoun, right? Me, subject is Fernando, and then the verb is abrazó. Bien, so you can see a couple examples here. Tú nos hablaste, right? You spoke to us. So in Spanish, to us you spoke. Ellos te cantaron, right? So they sang to you. So to you they sang. Bien. Bien, so placement is important. So there's some practice here. Practicaste el esquí acuático durante el verano pasado. And this is important as you first start learning about direct object pronouns, because you have to first think about which pronoun am I going to use? Lo, la, los, o las. If it starts with an L, it's going to be lo, of course. It's masculine and it's singular. This one, comiste huevos revueltos. It's plural and it's masculine, so you'd say los. La radio would be la. So first you're choosing which object pronoun to use. And then, of course, with all these examples, you're placing it before the conjugated verb when you answer it. So the answer would just be sí lo practiqué, number one. Number two would be sí los comí, right? That's it. You don't have to repeat the second part of the sentence back, because object pronouns, the purpose of them are to make the sentence, the answer, short, right? You want to be concise and short. Bien. So those are the basics of direct object pronouns. I'm going to skip ahead. In this chapter, we're going over not only the direct but the indirect, and we're using them both together in the same sentence. So the same rules that you use for the direct objects you're using for when you have both of them together, right? So the first rule, when you have them both together, which one comes first? So the indirect always comes first. So you would say te lo digo, right? To you, it I tell. In Spanish, I tell it to you. So it means something a little different. Número dos, when you have lo or la, los, o las, and if you have le o les before, in Spanish it's going to change to se. Se lo digo a María. Bien? And then, like I was saying, you always place them before the conjugated verb. If you have an unconjugated verb, or if you have two verbs in a row, you can attach them to the second verb in the sentence. So for example, te lo voy a decir, you could actually just say voy a decírtelo. Bien? Means the exact same thing. Se lo está diciendo a María, you could say está diciéndolo a María. Entonces, if you notice in these, the se, there's the a María to say. What does the se mean, right? And again, you have it here. The te, there's not a ti, because I know when I say te lo voy a decir, I know it's to you, right? There's no other option. But when you have se, I don't know if se is referring to a mis padres, a mis profesores, so you need to clarify with a and then the person's name. And then number four is you can't, no puedes poner nada entre los pronombres. You can't put anything between these. So se lo, you can't put a no, you can't put a person's name. That all needs to stay together, so that becomes the verb of the sentence. I put number five, of course, sometimes or always with commands, the pronouns always go attached to the end of a positive command. So we've been saying like siéntate, it's always going to be attached to the end of the command, and then before the negative command, like we've been practicing. So that's the same when you have two object pronouns in a row, right? So you might have remember saying dímelo, right? Or no me la digas, so the commands. Okay, so this is an activity that's good to do in your book. I'm going to skip ahead and just show you some resources that you have because these are really important to practice. So they really used a lot in conversation, and the best way to do this is just to continually practice some key phrases that you would use, like my mom told me that, right? Mi mamá me dijo que. So things like that that you would say every day in conversation are going to be helpful for you to understand how to say them in Spanish. But practice with those pronombres. You have this resource here if you want to practice. Okay, so how would you answer this question? ¿A quién le vas a dar un abrazo hoy? So to who are you going to give a hug to today? Okay. Se lo voy a dar a mi novio. So I have to put a person's name. I have to put a mi mamá, a mis amigos. I have to put something at the end of each one of these because the question is to who. So with each one of these, you're going to go through and you're going to answer, ¿a quién le vas a comprar comida esta semana? So you could put the a mi mamá at the beginning of the sentence. A mi mamá se la voy a comprar. Or you could put the a mi mamá at the end. It doesn't really matter. But the main thing is the se la voy a comprar. Nothing can go in between that section of the sentence. Bien? This is really good practice. The second section is thinking about what do these mean in English, right? ¿Nos compras chocolate? Sí, se lo compro. So remember, what does nos mean? What does compras mean? And then of course chocolate. So nos is, it's not nosotros, it's to us. So it's not our, it's not así. So it means you buy us chocolate, and then yes, I buy it for you guys. See? So these are really good to think through. And then the last set of questions has a question, and you're going to think, how would I answer this? When you answer this, you want to take out the direct object and use a pronoun. So for example, me dices la verdad. La verdad is the direct object of the sentence. You want to use a pronoun. So you want to use la. And then you have to think, where am I going to put that when I answer this question? Remember, the indirect always goes first, then the direct, and then the verb. So your answer would just be sí. You're going to just say yes or no, sí. Right? It's going to say to you, so it would be sí, te la digo. Te la digo. And if you look at these first four right here, all of the verbs are in the to form, so you're going to change the answers to the yo form. And if you look at these two right here, they're in the plural form, so you would actually just leave these verbs alone. And then the last one, you again see the to form, so you would change the verbs back to the yo form. So this is really good practice. If you click next, you can find all of the answers for these. So, buena suerte.